All right. Well, welcome. Our groups are our final groups for the second one. Group one, which would be the state of Georgia, will be Adam, Brendan Crossmont, Roger Gates, Leslie, Scott, Noel, Roger Bradley, Sean, and David. And then the Miller group, or group two, is going to be Armand, Cheryl, Matthew, Josh, Larissa, Michael, Christina, Jeremy, and Tommy. Alrighty.
I feel like we're doing the draft pick or something here.
That was the draft pick. All right. Let's talk about Zell Miller's versus the ACLU of Georgia in the state of Georgia. Basically, what this case is about computer fraud. It's any person knowingly that transmits data or any data through a computer network for the purpose of setting up, maintaining, operating, or exchanging data with electronic mailboxes, homepages, or any other electronic information storage bank to the point of access to electronic information if such uses the individual name to falsely identify a person. In other words, you can't commit fraud on any electronic format in the state of Georgia. Well, pretty much any state, but in this case, it's the state of Georgia.
But the state, their position is that, even though the language of the law doesn't specifically say it, their position is that what their intention is that you just can't identify yourself as a specific other person, right?
You can't falsely identify yourself as a specific person or individual or place of employment, anything. You have to truthfully say who you are. So in the instance that if you really wanted to, could you not sue police departments for falsely identifying themselves as 13-year-old girls?
Right.
Could you not use that act against them? Are they not falsely identifying themselves? So could you not also consider that entrapment?
That's what I would think that would be considered entrapment.
So people overlook it because you're dealing with kiddies.
Right.
So when we sign up,
But still, the law is the law, right? If you're a smart lawyer, you could.
Right.
Yes, Armand.
so when we sign up for email, when we enter like username and like first name and last name, we make it something else for identity.
That's fraud.
As well.
So when I'm online, if I'm, fluffy kitty.
No, that's
33,
that's a username. That's not. You're not saying that you're not someone else. As username, no one uses their true first and last name. Well, I don't want to say no one. Probably some 76-year-old granny who doesn't know better. But
I mean, that's what my question
a
was.
user ID is completely different. That
you don't have to specifically identify yourself. You
That
just
is
can't
correct.
claim that
When
you're
you're
somebody else.
right, when you're setting up the account, it asks you personal information
Right.
like your birth date, your name, your address, phone number, whatever. That identifies you. Now, I couldn't say that I'm Larissa and that I'm a female and things. Then I would be committing fraud.
But is that? I don't know. I'm looking at the thing, and that seems to be like the point of contention is the language of the law and what it specifically encompasses. Because it doesn't actually say that specifically.
Right.
That's what our gripe
The
is.
law is so vague when it
That
was written.
It could encompass that I can't go on and
Correct.
say Fluffy Kitty 33.
Correct.
Okay.
You're challenging it is the fact that if I remember right, you were prosecuted for or let's see, I'm trying to let me get down here to the original case. Yeah, because plaintiffs are likely to succeed on their claim that the statute is unconstitutionally vague for vagueness' doctrine. You have to define the criminal offense with sufficient definiteness that ordinary people can understand what conduct is prohibited in the manner of law. See, what they're saying is you can't use terminology that is so vague as to intentionally capture people. Okay? If I'm charging you first-degree murder, everyone knows what first-degree murder is. If I said this clause, what's the scope of it? What is the real ramifications? If you've noticed, laws now have become so vague so they can encompass so much, i.e. the U.S. Patriot Act. If you look the wrong way,
Yeah.
you're a terrorist, and now I can hold you for the rest of your life without trial and without questioning.
Yeah. The Rainbow Group is classified as a terrorist organization. They're a bunch of hippies who like to camp. I mean, that's.
someone must have done something that classified themselves as part of that group that did some illicit activity, and therefore,
Well, if
the whole
all,
group gets
yeah,
categorized as it.
right.
It's like,
I mean, because PETA is classified as a terrorist organization.
Well,
Well, yeah, I mean, because they have members that, attack people and throw paint on people that wear fur and stuff like that, so they're considered terrorists.
and they're also considered nudists too,
Yeah.
because they go around
It's considered a lot of things. but-
painting themselves in tiger stripes,
Yeah.
and walking around. But anyway, this case is really, we're talking about the language of the law. Okay? So as Miller, you are the defendant of the original case, which means you're the appealee because you lost the case. All right? So you're appealing as to why the law is unconstitutional. You have to prove that it's vague. Is where Group 1, the ACLU in the state of Georgia, I should have said instead of the state of Georgia, the ACLU, is trying to prove that the law is good as it is, which usually is kind of opposite of what
Yeah.
they're really trying to do, which doesn't make any
It-
sense in
it
this
makes
case.
no sense to me why the ACLU would fight for that.
There must be love.
There must be some other things that I haven't read in there yet. And granted, this is only like a 20 page of the really 400 to 1,000 page transcript, so you don't know
That's how
everything
the-
that. Oh yeah,
The real transcript is, okay.
I'm not printing you 2 reams. I've thought about maybe just doing it sometime if I was ever teaching cyberlaw again, is to actually have these cases, the whole case printed up, and just give you a binder for each case for that group.
Because
That would be helpful.
my husband works at OU, and I was thinking about going to the law library, because I know they have Westlaw and stuff
Mhm.
like that they can access, and trying to get it. But, because since he's faculty, I think I don't know how much they'll let me print, but,
You can save it to a PDF and go
Right.
print it somewhere else, yeah.
Yeah, just download it and then go bring it back over here and print.
50 pages at a time, every day.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is some of the documentation for these cases is so vast that, I don't know, you really have to go through it. I guess that's the problem I have. I am not a lawyer, and I don't.
And that's why-
I get finding information and digging for it, but to put it in legal format and.
Yeah. What I want you to do for this case is do what we talked about at the day of the trial, this past trial, is look at it as a 30,000-foot view, just argue your point. Look for the evidence that will support your argument as to why it's unconstitutional. Forget everything else.
Yeah, because that's what frustrated, because last time we first started researching, like we were just trying it as a whole, like,
Right.
no, it hadn't been tried before. Then we shifted gears to doing an appeal.
And that was,
and
I was just trying to make it easier on y'all with the appeal.
Yeah,
And because y'all were both teams were trying to get too far into the weeds, and I didn't want y'all to have to do that because, A, this is not a legal class. This is for you to learn the laws and how they apply, and in how lawyers actually look at the laws, so that you know what you can and can't do with Title 18, with the SIPA and COPA and HIPAA and FERPA and all these other US, because everything ends with an A. That's a law because it's some sort of act. But just keep it a 30,000-foot view. Look at it as to what you need to support your argument. Your argument is the law is not constitutional. Group 1's argument is that it is constitutional.
I think it's the
Opposite?
Yeah.
I haven't really read it all the way through.
Plaintiffs bring this action for declaratory and injunctive relief challenging the Constitution.
Okay, so Miller was the one that said that it was constitutional.
Yes,
ACLU is saying it's the opposite.
yeah, they're injuncting, we're trying to dismiss,
Right.
and we failed. Sad face.
So you have to prove the constitutionality of this clause. Is Group 2.
and we're not gonna do the whole deposition thing again.
Nope, nope,
No
nope.
questioning, no
Nope.
nothing. This is just.
No discovery, no nothing.
Yeah.
You're as a group, you are arguing the constitutionality of this law.
Now, did he have a?
Well, you have to. I'm sorry. You're going to have to say why the judge was wrong against their support, or the ACLU
Right.
who said it was unconstitutional. You have to prove that it is constitutional and that the judge was on crack or something.
Now, do we have to, give any documentation before, like, why we're appealing to the judge?
Yes,
or
he
what?
wants that 2 weeks prior to the trial.
2 weeks prior to the
So
trial?
the end of April.
So is the defendant or the plaintiff both gonna have?
Both have to do it.
Okay.
You have to say why y'all are appealing it. They have to say why. Basically, what
And
you
then
did
they
with your
say why.
rebuttal, you're doing it again, but for this case, 2 weeks prior. Because you have to prove to him why it needs to go to trial.
And then he'll have that to read.
Right.
And then when we present the stuff in the court, it's gonna be the same format as last time?
Yes, you're going to have 15 minutes for each side, and that'll be it.
So would an appropriate way to approach this be to find other cases that maybe define some of the language of the
Yes,
law?
that would be
and-
very helpful for you so that you have
so
judicial
legal
precedent.
for
You got it.
The definition of those terms. That's
Right,
like,
that
you
would
know,
be
even if
pri-
you don't know these, they've already been defined here. So you
Right,
don't
prior
need
to this date.
Okay.
So that you can prove that this judge was biased in his determination, his or her determination or whatever. Because remember, you're going to actually have 3 judges, more than likely 3 judges this time, instead of just 1. So that's what you're going to be working on in class. And do remember, you have until April. You have until Wednesday, April 30th.
Turn that in.
Yep,
To the judge.
to me, so I can give it to the judge. I will.
That's why we're
You're gonna have it.
doing, right?
You're gonna have it to me on April the 30th. No more than 2 pages, if at all possible. You know, if you have to stretch it a little bit longer, that's fine too. But I'm just trying to limit because he has so much to do as well. So you have until April 30th as a group, Mondays and Wednesdays, to work on this. Now I will let you know I will not be here April 23rd. I have a school meeting that I've got to go attend to, a school luncheon. So you'll need to meet as a group for that class.
We still come to class?
You can meet anywhere.
Oh, okay.
If you want to meet online, that's fine with me. I won't be here. Just like last Wednesday. Was it last Wednesday or Monday?
So Wednesday, April 23rd.
Wednesday, yeah. Wednesday, April 23rd, I will not be here. So that following Wednesday, you need to have that for me. Okay?
Okay.
There's several cases mentioned in here that I wanna research that, has like the backing for their side.
So real quick, Larissa, if you hang on for just a second. So, since there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. And then, since y'all know the dates and everything that you need to do, y'all have a good one.